Most people move through life unaware that the smallest daily habits quietly shape the future of their bodies and minds. What you repeat every day becomes the pattern that programs your health, your energy, and even your confidence. Many men believe that private actions have no lasting impact, yet the human body remembers everything. Every choice sends signals through the nervous system, through hormones, and through the delicate balance that keeps the body strong. The prostate, though small in size, plays a powerful role in male health and vitality. When habits become excessive or uncontrolled, the body begins to respond in subtle ways that are often ignored. Energy begins to drain slowly, focus becomes weaker, and motivation seems to disappear without explanation. A man may wake up tired even after rest, wondering why his strength feels different. The truth is that the body reflects the discipline of the mind. When awareness finally arrives, a person begins to see that what seemed harmless may actually be shaping their future. And the moment awareness begins, the possibility of transformation also begins. And the mind is the command center of the body, directing every impulse, decision, and reaction that follows. When a habit becomes automatic, it begins to take control of the mind instead of the mind controlling it. This is how many men unknowingly enter a quiet cycle of weakness, where momentary pleasure slowly replaces long-term strength. The body is designed for balance, for purpose, and for vitality that fuels creativity and ambition. Yet when discipline fades, the body begins to send quiet signals asking for change. These signals are rarely dramatic in the beginning, which is why they are often ignored. A person may notice mental fog, lack of focus, or emotional instability without connecting it to deeper habits. Over time, these small signals grow stronger, like whispers that become impossible to ignore. The mind may feel restless, searching for satisfaction but never finding real peace. True power begins the moment a man realizes that his mind must lead his habits, not the other way around. When the mind takes back control, the body begins to respond differently. And within every man exists a hidden reservoir of energy meant for strength, purpose, and creation. This energy is not only physical, it is mental, emotional, and deeply connected to motivation. When it is managed wisely, it fuels confidence, determination, and a sense of direction in life. But when it is constantly drained through impulsive patterns, that reservoir slowly begins to empty. The body can recover for a time, but repeated habits eventually begin to affect balance within the system. Hormones fluctuate, focus becomes inconsistent, and emotional stability may weaken. Many people never connect these changes to the choices they repeat daily. They search for answers in stress, diet, or sleep, without realizing that deeper patterns are influencing their condition. The truth is that discipline protects the body in ways most people never consider. A man who learns to guide his impulses gains a kind of inner authority that changes everything. His thoughts become clearer, his decisions stronger, and his sense of purpose begins to grow. And awareness is the turning point where everything begins to change within the human mind. The moment a person stops ignoring the signals of the body, a new level of understanding begins to form. Instead of living on autopilot, he begins to observe his thoughts, his habits, and the effects they create. This awareness does not come with shame or fear, but with a quiet realization that life can move in a different direction. The mind begins to recognize that strength is not about suppression, but about conscious control. When a man understands the connection between discipline and vitality, he starts to reclaim the energy he once lost. His focus sharpens, his confidence slowly returns, and his body begins to recover balance. The hidden battle that once controlled him now becomes visible and manageable. Change never begins with force, it begins with understanding. When understanding grows strong enough, the mind naturally chooses healthier paths. The body then follows the leadership of the mind, responding with renewed strength and clarity. Desire is one of the most powerful forces placed within the human mind and body. It drives ambition, creativity, love, and the pursuit of meaningful goals. Yet when desire loses direction, it begins to pull a person away from purpose rather than toward it. Many men grow up believing that satisfying every impulse is a natural part of life, never realizing that discipline is what transforms desire into strength. The body responds to whatever the mind repeatedly allows, and over time uncontrolled habits can slowly drain the energy that was meant for growth. What begins as a moment of pleasure can quietly become a pattern that influences thoughts, emotions, and motivation. A man may not immediately notice the effects, because they appear gradually and silently. Energy that once fueled creativity begins to weaken, and the mind struggles to maintain focus on meaningful goals. The deeper issue is not the act itself, but the loss of control over one's own impulses. When the mind stops leading, desire begins to lead instead, and the human mind is designed to guide behavior with intelligence and awareness. When a person exercises self-control, the brain strengthens pathways that support discipline and clear thinking. But when impulses are repeatedly obeyed without reflection, the mind slowly adapts to that pattern. What once required effort becomes automatic, and the habit begins to shape daily behavior. Many men find themselves returning to the same actions, even when they know those actions leave them feeling empty afterward. This cycle can create frustration, because the mind wants change but the habit feels stronger than the decision. Over time, this internal conflict can affect confidence and self-respect. A person may begin to question his ability to control his own behavior. The truth is that the mind can always be retrained, but awareness must come first. When a man begins to recognize the cycle clearly, he also begins to see that the power to change has always been within him. And energy is one of the most valuable resources the body possesses. Yet it is often treated as if it were limitless. Every thought, every emotion, and every physical action draws from the body's supply of vitality. When that energy is used wisely, it fuels determination, productivity, and the courage to pursue meaningful dreams. But when it is constantly released through impulsive behavior, the body may struggle to maintain its natural balance. Some men begin to notice feelings of fatigue that cannot easily be explained. Others experience difficulty concentrating on work, learning, or personal growth. These experiences are not always dramatic, but they can quietly influence the direction of a person's life. The mind may feel scattered, jumping from one distraction to another without finding lasting satisfaction. This is often a sign that energy is being used without intention. When discipline enters the picture, that same energy can be redirected toward building a stronger mind and a healthier body. And the emotional impact of uncontrolled desire is another dimension that many people overlook. When habits begin to control behavior, a man may experience moments of regret or disappointment after the temporary pleasure fades. These emotions are not signs of weakness. They are signals from the conscience that something within the mind is seeking a higher level of control. Ignoring these signals often leads to repeating the same cycle again and again. But when a person pauses to reflect on those feelings, they can become the starting point for real transformation. The mind begins to understand that lasting satisfaction cannot be found in impulsive behavior alone. True fulfillment grows from self-respect, discipline, and the ability to guide one's own actions. A man who develops this inner authority begins to feel stronger emotionally as well as mentally. His decisions become more deliberate, and his confidence slowly rebuilds. This emotional strength becomes the foundation for lasting change, and spiritual awareness also plays a powerful role in helping a person regain control over desire. Many traditions teach that human beings are not only physical bodies, but also minds and spirits working together. When a person lives without reflection or inner guidance, the connection between these parts can become weaker. Impulsive habits may temporarily distract the mind, but they rarely provide the deeper sense of peace that the spirit seeks. This is why many people feel restless even after satisfying their desires. The spirit is searching for something greater than momentary pleasure. When a man begins to reconnect with his inner values, he starts to see his life from a broader perspective. Discipline becomes less about restriction and more about protecting the strength within him. Every decision begins to carry greater meaning because it shapes the person he is becoming. And the process of regaining control over desire begins with a simple but powerful shift in awareness. Instead of reacting automatically to every impulse, a person learns to pause and observe his thoughts. This moment of awareness creates space between the impulse and the action. Within that space lies the power of choice, the ability to decide whether a habit will continue or change. At first, this process may feel challenging, because the mind is accustomed to familiar patterns. But every time a person chooses discipline, the brain begins to strengthen new pathways that support self-control. Over time, these choices accumulate, forming a new pattern of behavior that reflects the strength of the mind rather than the pull of impulse. The man who once felt controlled by desire begins to feel a new sense of authority over his own life. And confidence grows naturally when a person realizes that he can guide his behavior instead of being guided by it. Each disciplined choice sends a message to the mind that self-control is possible. Gradually, the feeling of weakness that once accompanied uncontrolled habits begins to disappear. In its place grows a sense of personal power that influences every area of life. Work becomes more focused, relationships become more intentional, and goals begin to feel achievable again. The energy that was once scattered through impulsive behavior becomes concentrated and purposeful. This transformation does not happen overnight, but it begins with a single decision to take responsibility for one's habits. A man who understands this principle begins to view discipline not as a burden but as a pathway to freedom. The freedom to use his energy, his mind, and his body in ways that build the life he truly wants. The human body is an incredibly intelligent system designed to maintain balance and protect itself from harm. Every organ, every gland, and every cell works together in a delicate coordination that supports health and vitality. Among these organs is the prostate, a small gland that plays an important role in male reproductive health. Though it is not often discussed openly, the prostate contributes to the production of fluid that supports sperm and overall reproductive function. Because of its role, it is sensitive to hormonal changes, lifestyle habits, and patterns that affect the body's internal balance. When a person maintains healthy habits, the body usually functions smoothly and efficiently. But when certain behaviors are repeated excessively, the body can begin to respond with signals that something is out of balance. These signals may be subtle at first, appearing as minor discomfort or a change in energy levels. Many people overlook these early signs because they do not immediately seem serious. Yet the body always communicates its condition through small changes that deserve attention. And medical science has long studied the factors that influence prostate health. Researchers have discovered that lifestyle habits such as diet, physical activity, stress levels, and sleep patterns can influence the condition of this gland. When the body is under constant strain or imbalance, inflammation can develop in different areas, including the prostate. Inflammation is the body's natural response to irritation, but when it becomes chronic, it can create discomfort and health challenges. Some men experience symptoms such as pelvic tension, difficulty with urination, or unusual sensitivity in the lower abdominal area. These symptoms do not appear suddenly without reason. They often develop gradually as the body reacts to repeated patterns. Understanding how lifestyle choices influence these responses can help men protect their long-term health. The body has an extraordinary ability to heal and recover when given proper care. When healthy routines are introduced, the system begins to restore balance in remarkable ways. And hormones play a central role in the functioning of the prostate and the male body as a whole. Testosterone and other related hormones influence energy levels, muscle strength, mood stability, and reproductive health. When the body experiences repeated stimulation or stress related to certain habits, hormonal fluctuations can occur. These fluctuations may affect the body's natural rhythm, sometimes leading to fatigue, irritability, or reduced concentration. While the body can adapt to many conditions, long-term imbalance may eventually influence overall vitality. Scientists often emphasize the importance of moderation and balance in maintaining hormonal health. Just as poor sleep or poor nutrition can disrupt hormonal systems, other lifestyle patterns may also influence how the body regulates itself. Recognizing this connection encourages people to think carefully about the habits they repeat daily. When a person chooses healthier patterns, the body often responds by stabilizing its internal systems and improving overall well-being. And another important factor that researchers discuss is the relationship between mental health and physical health. The mind and body are deeply connected through the nervous system and hormonal signals. When the mind experiences stress, anxiety, or compulsive patterns, the body may respond with physical tension and fatigue. Over time, this tension can affect different areas of the body, including muscles surrounding the pelvic region. Some health professionals believe that chronic stress and repetitive behavioral cycles can contribute to discomfort or irritation in sensitive glands. This does not mean that every symptom has a single cause, but it highlights how closely mental habits and physical health interact. A person who learns to manage stress, develop discipline, and maintain emotional balance often experiences improvements in physical vitality as well. This connection reminds us that caring for the body also involves caring for the mind that directs it. And modern health experts frequently emphasize prevention as one of the most powerful tools in maintaining prostate health. Preventive care includes balanced nutrition, regular physical exercise, adequate hydration, and avoiding habits that create unnecessary strain on the body. When men adopt healthier routines, they often notice improvements in energy, focus, and overall comfort. Exercise helps improve blood circulation, which supports healthy function in many organs, including the prostate. A balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats provides nutrients that help reduce inflammation and strengthen the immune system. Adequate sleep allows the body to repair tissues and restore hormonal balance during the night. Each of these habits may seem simple on their own, but together they create a powerful foundation for long-term wellness. The body thrives when it receives consistent care and respect through daily choices. And education also plays an essential role in helping people make informed decisions about their health. Many men grow up without learning much about how their bodies function or how certain habits can influence long-term well-being. As a result, they may overlook important signals that the body is sending. Learning about the prostate and its role in the body helps remove unnecessary fear and replaces it with understanding. Knowledge allows a person to recognize when something feels unusual and to take appropriate steps to improve their health. It also encourages open conversations about topics that were once considered uncomfortable to discuss. When information is shared responsibly and respectfully, it empowers individuals to take ownership of their well-being. The more a person understands about the body, the easier it becomes to make choices that support strength and balance. And the remarkable quality of the human body is its ability to adapt and recover when given the opportunity. Even when habits have created imbalance for a period of time, positive changes can often lead to improvement. The body constantly renews itself through processes that repair cells and restore equilibrium. When healthier habits replace harmful ones, the body gradually begins to respond with increased vitality and stability. Energy levels may improve, mental clarity can return, and physical comfort often becomes more noticeable. This transformation reminds us that health is not determined by a single decision, but by patterns repeated over time. Every small improvement in daily habits contributes to the body's ability to function at its best. Awareness, education, and balanced living create a powerful combination that supports both immediate well-being and long-term health. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that change cannot come from effort alone, but must begin deep within the heart. Many people attempt to break difficult habits through willpower, determination, or temporary motivation. Yet they often find themselves returning to the same patterns. The reason is simple but profound. Lasting change begins with a transformation of the mind and spirit. When a person pauses and turns inward, acknowledging their need for strength beyond themselves, something powerful begins to shift. Prayer becomes more than words spoken into the air. It becomes a moment of realignment between the mind, the heart, and a higher purpose. In that quiet moment, a man recognizes that he is not powerless against his impulses. Instead, he begins to see that the same mind that created the habit can also create a new direction. Prayer opens the door to reflection, allowing a person to confront the patterns that once controlled him. This awareness awakens a new sense of responsibility for the life he is building. And when a person sincerely asks for strength, the mind becomes more receptive to discipline and clarity. Prayer has a unique way of slowing the rush of thoughts that usually dominate the mind. In that calm state, the brain begins to process decisions with greater awareness, instead of reacting automatically to impulses. The urge that once seemed overwhelming begins to lose some of its power. This is not because the desire disappears instantly, but because the mind is learning to observe it rather than obey it. Many people describe this experience as a feeling of inner guidance, a quiet reminder that they are capable of choosing a better path. Each time a person returns to prayer, this sense of guidance becomes stronger. The habit that once operated in darkness is now exposed to conscious thought. When awareness shines light on a pattern, that pattern begins to weaken. Gradually, the mind develops the ability to pause, reflect, and redirect its energy toward healthier actions. And prayer also influences emotional strength in ways that many people underestimate. When someone feels trapped in a repetitive cycle of behavior, discouragement can slowly erode confidence. A man may begin to believe that he lacks the discipline to change, even though the desire for transformation remains strong. Through prayer, the emotional weight of failure can begin to lift. Instead of focusing only on past mistakes, the mind begins to focus on the possibility of renewal. This shift in perspective is powerful because emotions strongly influence behavior. When hope replaces discouragement, the mind becomes more willing to attempt change again. Confidence grows slowly as each small victory proves that progress is possible. A man who once felt defeated by his impulses begins to see himself as someone capable of self-control. That new self-image becomes the foundation for stronger habits and wiser choices. And another remarkable effect of prayer is its ability to redirect the energy that once fueled harmful patterns. Every human being possesses a powerful reservoir of mental and physical energy. When this energy is repeatedly directed toward impulsive habits, it often leaves a person feeling drained or unfocused. Through prayer and reflection, that same energy can be redirected toward personal growth, creativity, and purpose. A man may begin to invest more time in physical exercise, learning, or meaningful relationships. Activities that strengthen the mind and body gradually replace those that weaken them. The transformation may begin quietly, but over time it becomes noticeable in every area of life. Focus improves, determination becomes stronger, and the sense of purpose deepens. The energy that once seemed wasted begins to build something valuable instead. And spiritual awareness also helps a person develop a deeper respect for his own body and mind. When a man recognizes that his life carries purpose, he begins to treat his habits differently. Decisions that once felt insignificant start to carry greater meaning. Each choice becomes part of a larger journey toward becoming the best version of himself. Prayer reinforces this awareness by reminding the mind that life is not merely a series of impulses, but a path shaped by intention. With this perspective, discipline begins to feel less like restriction and more like protection. Protecting health, protecting clarity of thought, and protecting the strength that allows a person to fulfill meaningful goals. The man who embraces this understanding begins to experience a sense of dignity in the way he lives. And as prayer becomes a regular practice, it gradually reshapes the rhythm of daily life. Instead of reacting automatically to every urge, a person develops the habit of pausing and seeking inner clarity. This pause creates space for wisdom to guide decisions rather than impulse. Over time, the mind becomes calmer, more focused, and more aware of the consequences of each action. This transformation does not require perfection. It grows through consistent effort and sincere intention. Every moment of reflection strengthens the connection between thought and action. The man who once felt controlled by hidden habits begins to experience a new level of freedom. His mind becomes clearer, his emotions steadier, and his body more aligned with the choices he makes. The miracle many people seek often begins quietly within the mind when prayer awakens the awareness that change is possible.